order. Hello, everyone. This is Jeffery Giesener for the Obligations of Memory podcast network for the Jewish Culture and Holocaust Remembrance group. I'm here with my best friend, Zola Shuman, who's coming to us live from Cape Town, South Africa. And we're talking about, this is episode 3, and we've talked about life before the war, their camp experiences, but we've also had some fun and some interesting discussions, and we certainly are loving Zola's music. And I want to give you a taste of who Zola is. Zola was born in Cape Town, South Africa. She's the daughter of 2 Vilna-born Holocaust survivors, Israel Jutan and Yiddish actress and singer Chayela Rosenthal. And we're going to start by taking a look and listening to Here's Sue, and perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the story behind this song.
So I have been asked on a number of occasions to be a keynote speaker at Yom Hashoah, and in 2019 I was asked to bring some of the school children and sing a song with them for Yom Hashoah at the cemetery at the commemoration. And I decided, instead of looking for another song to sing, that I should write one, that it was time for me to pay tribute to my parents, to my family that we lost, to everybody's families lost. And so I wrote a song as a tribute to all Holocaust survivors, to all their families lost, and as a promise and an honoring to future generations that we will remember you. So hört sich zu means listen. We will remember you. And the children performed it for the first time in 2019. And since then, I've been blessed to have it recorded by a few people around the world. It's been used in film and in many Yom HaShoah commemoration events. So thank you for sharing and listening.
Hört sich zu, wie wir singen, wie es klappen unsere Herzen, mit Rhythm von euer Leben, hört sich zu. Wir seien euer Kinder, wir singen euer Lieder, so lieb euch wir seien da. We are here because of you. We'll tell your story, live your dreams, and sing your song. With courage, faith, and hope, with voices proud and strong. The world will know your life, your love, your legacy lives on. Hört sich zu, we will remember you. You're with us everywhere we go. We hold you safely in our hearts. We'll share with future generations all the lessons of your past, all your suffering and losses, and the pain that you've been through will never be forgotten. Hört sich zu. We'll tell your story, live your dreams, and sing your song. With courage, faith, and hope, with voices proud and strong. The world will know your life, your love, your legacy lives on. Hört sich zu, we will remember you. We have cried in all our tears the sadness of your darkest years, but the joy in your survival gives us life. Wir wollen euch keinmal nicht vergessen, wir wollen euch ständig gedenken. Auf ewig will wir singen, zu lieb euch. We'll tell your story, live your dreams, and sing your song. With courage, faith, and hope, with voices proud and strong. The world will know your life, your love, your legacy lives on. Hence, we will
absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
So I also want to ask you, you originally, when you first, someone asked you to record a Yiddish song, you said, I don't do record Yiddish songs. So you've come a long way, baby, that you can actually, write Yiddish. So I'm kind of just trying to understand the transitions that has gone on.
I had help with the writing of the Yiddish. I had contacted some Yiddish speakers that I know, and I asked them. I knew what I wanted to say in the song, so I wrote the English phrases, a whole list of English phrases, and I said, please translate them for me into Yiddish. And then I could put it into the song and make them rhyme and so on.
But how did
As you can tell, the song is not 100% in Yiddish. It's only partly in Yiddish.
I understand, but your Yiddish is fluent in being able to speak.
It's brechen in die Zähne. I definitely can't speak it, but I can understand a lot of it.
Okay, very good. So tell us a little bit about your song called My Prayer. And how did that come about?
So it comes from, I think, being brought up in a home of survivors, where my father always made it very clear that we must be fair, we must be tolerant, that everybody is equal, that there must be no hatred, that there must be no pain and suffering inflicted onto another person by a person or animal. And he was extremely fair, and that's a huge lesson that I got from him. And growing up in South Africa during times of apartheid, it was very, very difficult for both my parents, having seen so much discrimination and what it can do. And so we were very aware. I know that I was more aware than a lot of my friends about the inequality of the people and the class and the religion. And though I didn't experience anti-Semitism, I felt the oppression of people on others. And when I was writing music, it obviously, that's a part of me, is to want the world to be a better place. And I have a few songs where I'm writing, that love is where you start, you be kind to everybody. My father taught me you need to be kind and respectful and always listen and be interested in people's lives. And I had some friends going through a rough time when I was doing some of my songwriting in the album. And my prayer came about thinking about the world and everything when there is suffering, that you just have to hold on to the hope. And my wish and my prayer for the world is that it is an easy place, a place of love, a place of caring, a place to have hope, and wishing that everybody has a better world to live in tomorrow.
And so your mother left you what kind of lessons? So let's put them up against your father.
Up against my father. My mother's lessons was to give pure joy, to bring joy. She was also a comedian, so she was very, very funny. She was extremely expressive and extremely loving. In fact, to a point of annoying me, because she would kiss and smother and schmotchke and pinch and jomushkeles all my friends, much to my high embarrassment. And of course I do this today myself. So I've definitely inherited that part. She was determined in living her life over and starting fresh to continue to bring joy and to help others, to be kind and to stand up for injustice. If there was something, if a friend of hers had some issue with somebody else, she would stand up and be very bold and fierce, standing up for the friend's rights and justice. And so I got a lot of the same lessons, but with my mother, a lot of it was joy, because my father was quite serious and stern and strict. And she was the mushy one where everything is nice and you make happy and you pleasing the people. And so I got a lot of the the gentle warmth and loving and sharing music, because music brings joy and music is the universal language, and you can really express yourself and
So
teach through music.
where was Nava born? Was she born where?
Nava was born in South Africa, yes,
Okay.
a year after they got here in 1952.
And how
She
did
was
they
born.
and how did they get here?
So after they were liberated and they got together in Lauenburg in the house, there was a Russian soldier that my father had befriended, a Jewish Russian soldier. And he managed to get my father a job in the Polish administration immediately, where my father was registering refugees and issuing papers. And so he got work and he was earning some money, and he gave him some basic documents to work, but not proper ID or union cards or anything yet. And my mother immediately joined a Yiddish state theater in Poland, where they were in Lauenburg, and they heard of one in Lodz and in Warsaw, and her sister, who was now with her boyfriend, one of the actors from the Vilna ghetto, who she subsequently married, they went to live in Lodz. And my mother wanted to go and visit them in Lodz, and so they traveled and got some papers to go across to Lodz. And on the way, they stopped in a little town called Bydgoszcz. And my father heard that there was a competition on the radio. They're looking for Jewish actors. So he said to my mother, go and audition. We'll stay here one night and go to Lodz tomorrow. And she did. She went to audition. And while she was auditioning at the radio station, my father took a walk in the park and bumped into the previous editor of the newspaper in Vilna that he worked for. And big hellos and hugs and stories and catch up. And the man loved my father so much and respected him so much that he immediately took him to the offices, the embassy offices, and got him documents, made new ID documents for him, gave him a union card, got him a job in the newspaper right then and there in Bydgoszcz. Within a couple of hours of my mother coming back from the radio station, everything was starting to get organized. And they stayed there for a little while because now he had a job in Bydgoszcz. And they got married right there in a little judge's office, because now they all had papers through this contact from Vilna from before. And they stayed in Bydgoszcz for a while, and then my father basically did a lot of roving around of Poland to do newspaper articles. And my mother also was traveling to Wrocław, to Warsaw, to Lodz, performing in theater with Yiddish actors all around. They also went to displaced persons camps, the DP camps. She was entertaining there. They ended up in Jelenia Gora, which was like a little resort town where my father was really doing well as a journalist. He was now the editor of the newspaper there, and they could afford an apartment and a car and a piano, so he really did well. And while she was performing in the theater in Wrocław or Breslau, she was performing as the lead actress in a little Yiddish play called In Grünefeld, Green Fields. And it was the same play that Molly Picon, the famous American Yiddish actress, had played in America. It was also the same time that Molly Picon was traveling in Poland to visit the camps, the displaced person camps, and she happened to go to the theater and see my mother perform. And she was blown away by my mother, and her husband even said, "Oh my goodness, this is a mini you. We must get her out of Poland. Come, what do we do? Come, come, come." So Molly and my mother became friends in 5 minutes, and she promised that she would get my mother out of Poland. And she did. She got an American impresario to come, and they telegrammed and said, "Chayela, we need you to audition for me and I'll get you papers." They had to fly to Warsaw to audition for this impresario. but they only had one day to do it. And to get a train would take too long. So because my father knew people in the offices of the administration, they said, don't worry, go here and here and here, and you're going to go in an army transport plane. So they're sitting there, flying over Germany. My mother always used to tell the story, look, Xaver, we are sitting, me and you, in a plane full of ammunition, flying over Germany. Too late. So she did the audition, and he was also blown away, crying. And within a couple of months, he got her a contract to go and perform in Paris, got papers, got passports, and they managed to leave. And my father, it wasn't very easy to leave Poland, apparently. And I don't remember the story why, what the limitations were, but you had to lie that you were leaving for good. And he managed to persuade his newspaper that there was a World UNESCO conference in Paris. And as a journalist, he will go and cover it for 2 weeks and possibly look for his mother to see if he could find her after the war, which he didn't because she had already been killed. But that's how they basically got with 2 little suitcases full of clothes. And my father had his typewriter and his camera. And my mother had a $10 note that Sol Hurok, the impresario, had given her, and he tucked it into her hair. And that's how they ended up in Paris. And while in Paris, she continued to work and travel and do theater in the nightclubs. My father got a job immediately in the newspaper again, and he also became a tour guide for foreigners because he knew all the languages while my mother was traveling around Europe or doing the nightclubs. And while she was traveling with the Yiddish theater, she also did TV. She was with Danny Kaye, Edith Piaf, Yves Montand, all the big names, which I only discovered in recent years again. Had no idea all this had happened with my mother. She was just my mother in Cape Town. But she had recorded her first album of Yiddish songs in Paris. So their life in Paris for 2 years was pretty full. And then the African Consolidated Theatres, sent the Yiddish actress Sarah Sylvia, who was very well known in South African Yiddish theater. They sent her to Europe to find actors and actresses, Yiddish ones, who could come as special guest artists to perform in South Africa. And she discovered my mother in Paris. And the next thing we knew, my mother had a contract to come and do a performance as a featured artist with a couple of other well-known actors. And when she came, she was just coming for a month-long excursion to do theater. I think within a week, apparently, she had telegrammed my father to say, I have landed in paradise. This is where I want to live. Even though they were officially getting their papers to go to America, because Molly Picon had organized that they'd be coming to America. But once she saw Cape Town, South Africa, and the warm climate and the ocean and the mountain and the community, the Jewish community was extremely welcoming. And a lot of Lithuanian Jews who'd come before the war, and there were quite a few survivors here also already, and more came after. And that was it. And so she had gone back, and that's pretty much how they managed to get to South Africa.
Well, that sounds like a prayer. So let's listen to your song called The Prayer. Wait a second, I'm sorry. No, wrong one.
It's good to have silence before a prayer.
Right.
There will come a day, and there will come a night when everything around you and all there is about you suddenly feels right, and there will be no doubt and there will be no fear. That is my wish, that is my prayer. Yeah, yeah. And there will be a world filled with only love, where everything you have and all that you are really is more than enough. And there will be no pain, no need to shed a tear. That is my wish, that is my prayer. Yeah, yeah. When all the children sing and all the angels dance, every living, breathing thing will finally get the chance to see how it's all supposed to be. What it really means to be free. Then it will be your time to live the life you choose. Every moment like a dream, every move you make you win. There'll be no battles left to lose, and there'll be only hope, no reason to despair. That is my wish, that is my prayer for you. That is my wish, that is my prayer. Yeah, yeah.
So that's just absolutely beautiful. But I have a question for you. As I watch you listen to you, as I watch you and you listen to you, you're deep in thought. So, what are you thinking about when you hear yourself speak?
So, in this particular song, I have never thought of it. Here come the tears, which is fine because we have to cry. They are love tears and sadness tears and loss tears. I've never thought of this song as it related to my parents. And because of what we're doing and because of your placement of the song now, which was your direction, thank you, it made me think of the lyrics in terms of them and their lives. So thank you.
Well, you're quite welcome. And we're going, this is Jeff Giesener for the Obligations and Memory Podcast Network. We're having fun and just enjoying our conversation with Zola Shuman. I'm going to exit this particular interview. We have one more to come, and we'll come right back, but I'm going to play one more on this segment. So give me 1 second. And Zola, you'll know this song in a second.
You keep surprising me.
I went to the doctor just the other day. I had a burning in my belly that just wouldn't go away. He said, lady, give up chocolate, give up coffee, give up tea. He said, lady, give up anything containing caffeine. So to cure my condition, set my symptoms free, I took his prescription, but only half agreed. I gave up coffee, switch to decaf tea, but I refuse to ditch my cocoa bean. 'Cause I get nasty, I get mean. If I am deprived of my cocoa bean, I get badly depressed. Oh, I blow a fuse. These are sad side effects of the cocoa bean blues. The cocoa bean blues. Well, I admit it's an addiction that's gone too far. This dreamy affair with a chocolate bar. My rendezvous with cocoa laced with milk. Rich and creamy like a kiss of silk. Ooh, whipped and dipped, melting hot and cold. Now that's the tonic to sweeten my soul. But I get nasty, I get mean. If I'm deprived of my cocoa bean, I get badly depressed, or I blow a fuse. These are the sad side effects of the cocoa bean blues. The cocoa bean blues. Now little chips and cookies are a total waste. Liqueur and fancy fillings just dilute the taste. But I don't mind a hazelnut in every third bite. I can stomach some distractions in my dairy
Doug Hammer on piano.
The doctor's diagnosis may well be right, but I'm so focused on what I need to write. So his remedy just would not be the dose of medication I use. 'Cause with my yearning for chocolate, if I gotta choose, I'll take the burning in my belly over the cocoa bean blues.
And I'm Jeffery Giesener for the Obligations of Memory podcast network for the Jewish Culture and Holocaust Remembrance group. And we're with Zola Shuman, and we'll come right back with our last episode. Stay tuned. See you soon.
Bye.